Let's play darts. Ladies and gentlemen, a 41 there. That is a traditional number that you'll hit with your first 3 darts if you've been playing for a short amount of time but are trying to get better. They're fairly straight. The last one veering off to the right is standard procedure, but we're here to get better at that. And if you are a player like me at a stage where there's clear and obvious issues, particularly around follow through and how you throw a dart, are you using your arm? Are you using your fingers and your wrist? And I'm trying to use my fingers and my wrist. And at this point, if you're still confused, watch on, because I'm going to give you an expert, an actual darts coach, Daniel from Straight to the Point, is going to explain exactly what's going wrong with my follow through and my wrist, and we'll show you how to get better at this. So perhaps we should just get straight into it and run that tape.
Okay, now this elbow height looks good. That's under the line of sight. As you start to draw back, the wrist is being used. Not initially though. We're going to go really, really slow on this. Let's see if the fingers are being... Yeah, the fingers are being used. That's good. The fingers are coming back. Wrist is coming back. That's not bad, you know. That's looking good. The elbow's dropping a little bit though. If anything, that elbow's a little bit on the low side now, so it's probably going to lift by the end of the drawback because of how far you're drawing back. Yeah, it's got me up already. Okay. See that? Keep that elbow still. Draw back with the wrist and the fingers. Reduce the length of the drawback. Keep the elbow still. When the flight's by your chin, that's more than far enough. But the wrist is back as you start to go through. The wrist is being used. You've moved the elbow a little bit. It's not perfect. You are still pushing a bit more from the arm than we'd like, but the wrist is being used. And the elbow's not lifting a massive amount. If you'd kept the elbow on that pink line, you'd have been able to keep it a bit more still. It only lifted this much by the point of release. So here you're going to start the release roughly. Yep, that's gone. Yeah, there wouldn't be much elbow movement at all. Softer with the arm, flick more with the wrist. But I would start originally just by changing the timing on the drawback. Draw with just the wrist and the fingers, keeping the elbow still. Look at the little arc there on your elbow. Very, very small hyperextension. Very, very small. Which tells me we want the release to be very, very slightly earlier still. So we're going to keep the elbow still, back with the wrist and the fingers into a little pause when the flight's by the chin. Then lift the wrist and let it go, flick and fold. That should be enough. And just lift the wrist and let it go. Reducing that drawback will really help, and try to lean in a bit more to the shot, because if you look at where your position now, you're already leaning in more. Keep in that position for the entirety of the throw, then it's going to save you moving backwards and forwards. Just have that little lean in. On that dart, your wrist didn't go through, so we'll look at that in slow-mo in a minute. But in terms of timing, it's not bad. It could be better, obviously. There's not much of a deceleration on the draw. There's not a big pause. See, you were very quick to go through on that dart. As soon as you hit the end of the drawback, you're very fast going forward. Now, some people don't have a pause at the end of the draw, but if you don't have a pause, you need a much bigger deceleration and acceleration as you're going through. You're going to need to accelerate it a lot more, and that's the one where your wrist didn't go through. See how the fingers are bobbing back upward? This is because the wrist didn't go through. Keep the elbow still. Don't let the elbow drop. Wrist back. Through with the wrist and the fingers. Flick and fold. It's likely you just pushed a little bit too hard with your arm, so the forearm moved too fast for the wrist and fingers to work. So on this night, again, my film was being thrown by a photographer, and I was actually very happy with the way I played this night. So my throw felt pretty good. Just a good example. Watch the wrist and the fingers all the way back. I'm pausing when the flight's by my chin. Just watch that again. Nice stretch of the arm. Elbow still. Back with the wrist and the fingers. Little pause. lift the wrist. Now look how fast I managed to get that wrist up. That's a follow through. Now the fingers are going through as I let go of the dart. That's where a follow through is. It's accelerating was getting the wrist and the finger still moving past the point of release. It's not necessarily just an arm extension. You can extend your arm and not follow through. And I just follow the dart. Now big 18 to set up 90 after 12 darts. So it's not a bad leg, to be fair.
Right, so that was Daniel from Straight to the Point. Daniel did my throw analysis. That was part of it. You got a sneak peek, probably into the most important part in many ways. Since I started playing darts, that follow-through business where you watch players in the Premier League, they do those slow-mos and they're like this. And that wrist flops down and it's like, looks so beautiful. And I thought that's what you had to do, just throw that hand down after. Well, clearly it's not that. Okay, and the main part of follow through is actually how you're sending that dart down the pipe and getting that wrist through. And there's no point even worrying about where your hand goes after until I can solve this wrist. Now, one thing I will say about throw analysis and looking at your throw in the manner that I am and that you've just seen is, if I'm honest, during that clip that I sent Daniel, I was throwing quite well. I'm so inconsistent that you just saw where Daniel sort of said, oh, your wrist is really doing what it should be doing. That's great, but I know I don't do that every throw. You'll see it today. You probably saw it in the first 3 darts. What's common is that I'll throw a dart and I'll get the follow through how I want. And then the next one will be like that. Okay, and then suddenly I'll just try and like move it in the air. It's just, I just want that consistency of pushing my wrist through. That's what we're going to be doing. That's all I'm concentrating on. That's all I'm worried about. I want to get every single dart thrown in the same manner. And I don't care about my elbow. I don't care about my shoulder. I don't care about my drawback. I know Daniel touched on my drawback. I know my drawback's terrible. But I'm concentrating purely on getting this wrist through every time because I know I don't do it often enough. So let's have a tiny warm up. Okay, that's okay. As I said, I'm really just worried about getting this wrist through every time. And maybe I'll start looking back at my own videos a bit more, watching how often I do it and how often I don't. But let's get going, because it doesn't really matter about that warm up. It matters mainly that I'm doing this every time. So let's go double one. We're going to go doubles around the clock. I want to get this wrist through every time, like that. Hello. Not so bad. Not so bad, because it's wrist. And if you get your first dart in, especially on that one, I've been stuck there for days. Lovely. Even actually that one going in, I know my wrist didn't quite fully go through. So even though I hit it, and I'm pleased with that, I'm just constantly reminding myself, wrist through, wrist through, wrist through. But a good start. And most of this is going to be off camera. Off camera, I'm going to be constantly trying to get this wrist through. Poor, like that one, nothing happened there with the wrist. I'm throwing it in my arm. Not bad there with the wrist. Now we'll struggle to get around this clock today, just in the time, and I'm not too worried about it. Today is all about, will I pour that? Reduce the number of throws I have where my wrist is not going all the way through like that. That's what I'm worried about. And the more I do it, the results should get better. It should get better. It's not about the results, but they should get better, right? There it is, up to 4. Now, morale's been really low this month. My performances, the way I'm playing, has been a drop down. It's been a level down. And I'm not really sure. I think because I've got my throwing hands back and making so many changes, I think you've got to expect yourself just to falter a little bit in performance. And that's for the good of the colony. That's good for long term. It's for the greater good. So I'm just trying to remind myself of that all the time. Ah, shame. That's a shame too. But we're on 5 at least. Right, into position. Don't raise the arm until everything's ready. There it is. Well, we're going around the clock nicely. I wouldn't necessarily feel like I'm one with the dart as of yet, but that's okay. I mean, no, the darts are getting closer to the board than my pet hamster over there. So that's progress. I don't even have a pet hamster. Right, 6. Oh, no good. And look, I know it hasn't been great the last month how I've been playing, but what do they say? Form is temporary, chaos is permanent, or something like that. So let's just keep going. Number 7. I like 7 because it's near 19. That area, 6, 7, 19 there is where I feel most comfortable on the board. And when I've got my arm in position, my elbow, sorry, I know there's the least movement, the least unwanted movement in that area than anywhere else on the board. The higher up the board I go, the more I feel like my wrist is going. It's like, the way I imagine it is like big skyscrapers, and the big skyscrapers at the top are moving like this. That's like my throw when I raise my arm up. And those low buildings where I'm going down here, I'm steady. Does anybody else have that? A lot of people say they prefer the higher numbers to the lower numbers, but I just prefer that lower region. I feel like I'm much more steady in my movement, and I feel a bit more compact, I guess. Right. Well, 6 and 7 there, so that's lovely. Right, numero 8, oito in Portuguese, that is. The other thing that I tend to do is I throw a dart and my hand will go straight down, and I need to actually let it hold there. I'm just a little bit too quick. I'm just trying to get rid of the dart as quick as possible almost. I'm just trying to reduce that as well. But everything is about this wrist really. And even though 8 is in that region, I do struggle a lot more on the 8 than the 16 and the 7 and the 19, just that little bit higher. I find myself, oh, that was bad timing, it went in. Number 10 for hat trick. There's the hat trick, ladies and gentlemen. That's a 9, an 8, 9 and 10. And the wrist went through every time. Nice to see. It's nice to see because I'll be honest, doing every training game, I've been focused on this wrist, and my results have been poor. Just dropped down a bit while I've concentrated on this. So when I'm getting good feedback like that from the board, that's lovely because the board never lies. The board never lies. The board is not like your Uncle Jeffrey, okay? Uncle Jeffrey promises that he'll be there at Christmas this year, and then Christmas Eve he's out again, and you know he's out, and he doesn't turn up on Christmas Day because he's hungover. Okay, right, 11. Not so bad. There's a lot of work to be done on this wrist to make it consistent, but we're heading in the right direction, I feel. Unfortunate. I've also just trying to slow things down a bit. You know what I'm like. I'm launching these darts as quickly as I can sometimes. And I don't think that's necessarily the best tactic. So I'm just trying to slow things down. That's lovely. That last dart was lovely because the first dart, I felt myself drawing back so far. I thought, can I shorten it up a little bit, just a little bit? And that one was smooth. That was good. I'm just trying to, when I'm getting good moments like that, I just want to reinforce it in my mind. Let those brain synapses connect. Those neurons. Right, number 12. That's lovely. That's absolutely beautiful. Right in between the eyes. All good darts, we're getting there. It's going to be long sessions, these, and long days of anguish. But when things come together a little bit, just like today, having 3 in a row, having darts like that, it makes me feel, okay, maybe I am on the right path. That's poor. Very poor with the wrist. How are you guys doing? What are you working on your throw? What's the biggest issue you're finding you having? I'd love to know. And this is for everybody because I don't think we've got any PDC players watching. Even if there was one, and if there is, please get in the comments. Because I'm sure every player of every level has something they are working on that they feel they could be better at. What is it for you? Because if you keep your ear close to the ground, you hear the buffalo coming. I love to hear what is going on out there. I want to understand, I want to learn. Then I'll keep my ear out. And if there's common themes that you guys are having, hopefully I can find and speak to the right people and get back to you on it. 13, come on. That's beautiful, well done. 14. 14. That's beautiful. Just feel nice and solemn and calm. Be at one with the dart. Be mindful. Just relax the mind, relax the body. We're on number 15 already. We're becoming one with the tungsten, guys. Port. Better. That's fantastic. Love 16. We're all doing 17. We're all doing 17. We're not even throwing that quickly. We're relaxed. 18. That's poor. 18 is a great example of a number I struggle on with the wrist following through. Once we get high, things turn a bit haywire. So that's something to really work on. That's not bad. That's not bad either. Oh, unfortunate. Double 1. Hello. Oh, next door neighbour, please. Oh, is that in? No, it's not, but not bad. We are already on 19. Very short time this is taken, which is wonderful news. That's wired. Proper wired, that one. This is a tough dart, this one. Oh, he's gone next door. Wasn't much room to play with. But don't mind this darts today. It's the best I've thrown on with you for a little while. Pour. Pour. Pour, pour, pour. Right, let's do 3 more darts and I'll let you go. 3 more darts. What's that? Come on, one more, finish the job. No. Probably best, I've probably hit a little purple patch. It's good to end it on this point. Of course, 19 in a very quick amount of time, but the scores are nice to have, good to get good results. But what about my wrist? I threw many more darts, I think, pushing my wrist through. Let me know in the comments though if you see different things to what I'm seeing and feeling. I'd love to know. I want to know what you're getting up to, how your throw's going, and whether or not you have problems with your follow through and your wrist, and whether this helps. I hope it does. Real privilege to have you here. Real honour for me. Thank you very much for your time.